Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the Splash Sisters. I'm Hana.
And I'm Mev.
And so much has happened this week with free agency. And so many players are getting a huge bag, and I'm like so jealous. Like Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball, even Fred VanVleet are getting huge bags. What do you think about that?
I mean, it kind of makes sense. The cap has risen, but at the same time, it's just like, wow. Like, are these bags even really necessary? Like, they're giving players like Fred VanVleet $130 million in 3 years. Like, are they joking?
Me and Mev, we're gonna go through like all the players who got like a big bag and say if it was an overpay, underpay, or just right. So let's start with Fred VanVleet. Overpay, underpay, or just right?
Overpay.
I agree. He's making 43 million a year, which is absurd. That's like superstar money. I get the cap has risen, but like at the same time, like what happened to just superstars in the NBA getting hella money, like them being in that category, like being elite and getting the most money that they deserve, you know?
Like, you don't even have to earn it anymore. Like, with all NBA selections, MVPs, like, they just be giving them out, you know?
Mhm.
Like, Fred, for example, like, the reason why he didn't even work with Toronto was because he didn't mesh with the young core. But then there's a team like the Rockets, all young players, trade for Fred. I mean, give Fred a
I
contract.
really
Like,
didn't
what?
understand it, to be honest, because I like the Rockets and how young they were. Like they had like a lot of good players. Some people might disagree. Like I think Jalen Green has like a really high like potential and ceiling, but a lot of people think he's like a shot chucker, which is like you can't expect like young players to like have a veteran play style. Like they're gonna get to that point eventually, but right now they're gonna play like they're young. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it could help them having like they also got Dylan Brooks. It could help them having two like veteran players on the team, but at the same time, like it could not end well
I
because
saw someone say that that's like the worst duo in the league, Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks.
Dylan Brooks is a good NBA player, but 4 year, $80 million is crazy. Like he does not deserve that much money. Like everyone saw all the trouble he
He got
caused.
exposed. Okay, we'll get to him, but he did get exposed in the playoffs. Next, Bruce Brown, 2 year, 45 million. Overpay, underpay, or just right?
I think that's right. I don't think it's crazy amount of money. He proved himself in the finals, the whole playoffs. He was an amazing sixth man, but I think it's kind of funny how they said Brucey B isn't going anywhere, and then why couldn't they give him that much money? I don't know.
Because they couldn't afford it right now, but they could have afforded it if he signed a contract and he would have been eligible for like a bigger contract. But I guess he wanted the money like right away, and he deserves it for sure. But at the same time, I feel like it was a slight overpay because Bruce Brown is still like a role player that's making over 20 million a year.
But it's only 2 years. If he got like a 4 year, $90 million contract, yeah, I'd say overpaid. But it's like a short like if he continues to prove himself in 2 years and then gets another one, then I don't see anything wrong with it.
Yeah, but overall, like I like it. I think that he will have a bigger role, especially with the Pacers, because obviously Tyrese Halliburton is their best player, and I think he can literally be like their second best player. Even like they also traded for Obi Toppin, and I think that overall their team is really good. They have Tyrese Halliburton, Obi, Miles Turner, Bruce
Buddy Hield.
Brown, Buddy Hield, Benedict Mathurin. They're deep too. They can. I think the Pacers easily like 100% make the playoffs next year.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
And I like them making this moves because they did say that they want to like try and get a good wing, and they did.
yeah, but like Tyrese, do you think he deserves the 4 year,
Yeah, so
260
Tyrese
million?
Halliburton, he got a 5 year, 260 million contract, and that is 52 million a year for Tyrese Halliburton.
I feel like giving like such a young player like a 5 year big max deal is like kind of crazy.
It's crazy that you like if you think about it, like Michael Jordan didn't even get this money.
Michael Jordan made like 92, I think, $92 million his whole career. And then you have players like a one-time all-star who's making 260.
Obviously, like it's crazy when you compare it to like other contracts and other players in NBA history, but right now, I think Tyrese Halliburton, he is the Pacers franchise star. He's proven that he can be an all-star level player. And obviously like not all players can get like these superstar players, right? So if you have a good all-star player who can potentially get better throughout time, you pay them to make them stay. Like he hasn't shown that he'll get worse or anything. He's just shown that he can get better and better as the years goes on.
Yeah, I feel like
And
it's still early
that'll show
to be
their
giving
no,
him
but
that much.
listen, that it'll show their loyalty to him too. That they're willing to sell big on him because they believe in how good he'll be, you know.
Yeah,
But but if he ends up being like a one-time All-Star still, then I guess that you can end up saying it was an overpay. But I just don't see that happening. I think he'll be an All-Star plenty of times.
yeah, and like it's not
So
like they have anyone else to
you
give.
think it's an overpay?
I still think it's an overpay.
Like I don't blame you for thinking that. Like maybe 40 million a year would be great, but like 52 million, that is superstar territory. But at the same time, what are the Pacers gonna do? They're the Pacers. Who else are they gonna pay that money? You know?
Yeah, but that's a different kind of logic. If we're just talking about the money,
I think every team is different.
because there's players I feel
Because
like
The
who
Knicks
deserve more
didn't.
money and they don't even have that much. They don't get
Because
that
listen,
much.
The Knicks, Jalen Brunson only got a 4 year, 104 million, I think.
103.
103 million. Yeah, Jalen Brunson got a 4 year, 103 million. And if you think on that, because we also had to give Julius Randle a big contract, and we had to give R.J. Barrett a big contract, and potentially Emmanuel Quickly a big contract. So it all adds up. But the Pacers, they're not going to give like a bunch of players 100 million because they don't deserve it. So that's why I'm saying like Tyrese Halliburton does deserve that money. And for me, the Knicks, it's crazy because like LaMelo Ball got 260 million, Anthony Edwards 260 million, Tyrese Halliburton 260
It's
million.
all these like
But
low
Jalen
market
Brunson got
teams.
4 year 104 million. Do you not see the difference? He's getting paid over 100 million less, and he's just as good as these players, or even better.
And carried his team in the playoffs, and he's probably feeling it right
Exactly.
now. He's probably
Like
like,
Jalen Brunson's
"Wow,
like,
I'm."
damn, I should have waited a year to get paid, but who knows whether this would have happened. But at the same time, like I said, Jalen Brunson, the Knicks actually got a steal here. They got Jalen Brunson. We have so much. The Knicks have so much more room and cap space. They have first round picks. They probably have something like brewing up since they do. So since they didn't spend so much on our star player, we have so much left.
Yeah, and I feel like Jalen is more like the winning type. Like I feel like he doesn't even
A
care
hundred
about the money.
percent.
He probably just more so wants to win. And I feel like you guys have a shot if you guys get
The
better.
Knicks got real lucky because Jalen Brunson is worth just as much as these guys. Like LaMelo, Anthony Edwards, Tyrese Halliburton, he's worth just as much. And he's getting paid over 100 million less. But next one, let's see. Desmond Bain, 5 year, 207 million, will be making 41.4 million a year.
Overpay.
You think Desmond
Overpay.
Bain is an overpay?
Yes. He's never made Western Conference Finals. He's never been an All-Star. He's never made an All NBA team. Like why the hell does he deserve that much money? I don't even care that the cap has risen. Like what? Like
Yeah,
man,
like we said,
even
like
Zach Levine doesn't
times
make that
have
much money. Like
times have changed because Desmond Bain is making 41 million a year, and I can say over here that he actually deserves it.
huh?
I'm gonna say that because I think I like this move by the Grizzlies. They're trying to keep their young core together instead of splitting them apart. Desmond Bain actually, like, remember at the beginning of the season, he was averaging crazy numbers. I think like almost 30 points per game. He is one of the best shooters in the NBA, and he gets better and better as the years goes on. So I think he 110% becomes an All Star.
I mean, obviously he's an amazing player. I'm just saying, like, they should wait until maybe they can see more of what he does before giving him 207 million. That's like the same thing I feel like with all the young players like LaMelo, Tyrese, like they like very young getting this much money is
I think with LaMelo and Tyrese Halliburton, you know that they're future stars. But we have to see like Desmond Bain if he can become like, which I think he will. We have to see if he can become a multiple time All Star. If
I
he could
don't
become
think so.
a core piece to a championship contender, and I think that I like what the Grizzlies did because if keeping the Grizzlies together is what you need to do, you need to do it
Nobody in the league was
because
going to offer him that
I
much
think Jaren
money.
Jackson Jr. was an All Star last season, great defender, defensive player of the year. John Morant, MVP candidate. He is amazing when he's on the court. And Desmond Bain shown that he could be that third star, doesn't need the ball in his hands, can make tough shots, can shoot from anywhere. He doesn't really have a flaw in his game, really. He's such a good like system player. I just love Desmond Bain's game. So I think that the Grizzlies keeping them together is a great idea. And if you have to pay, if you have to overpay even a little, it's who cares? They have the money now. Okay, Kyrie Irving, 3 year, 126 million. He's getting 42 million a year.
I think that's an underpay.
Underpay.
Hmm.
Three. He's getting
Because
paid
like
142 million for 3 years.
okay, It's Kyrie Irving. Like everyone sees how majestic he is with the ball in his hands. I don't think everyone's judging based off that the Mavs didn't make the playoffs last year, but you can also say like they were not together for a long period of time. Plus the Mavs, like I feel like they picked up some good pieces in free agency. I feel like with Kyrie and Luka, they'll make it far, like, really far, and they need to give Kyrie money for him to stay. I think he deserves it.
Honestly, I'm not gonna say overpay because it's Kyrie Irving. Like the Mavericks needed to keep him because if you let him go, you traded him for absolutely no reason, right?
Yeah.
Like you let go of all your pieces that were like great around Luca just so you can get a star player to play alongside him. And if you don't pay this money, you will lose him. And like, what was that trade even for? Like you'd look like a clown at the end of the day. So I think it's just right. I think Kyrie Irving is still an all-star level player when he's playing. He's like a walking 27, 5 and 5. Kyrie Irving. I just think that the Mavs struggles were not on Kyrie Irving this past season.
That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah, and I
I don't
think
think
they
he's
just
to
need a
blame.
team
I've said
around
it
them.
before.
And actually like what they've done so far. They got Seth Curry, who's one of the best shooters in the NBA. There's someone else that the Mavs got. Oh shit, Matisse Thybulle too. That just happened like right now, like an hour ago. Like
The Mavs are making moves. They're also like targeting
Seth
Grant
Curry, Matisse
Williams.
Thybulle. Honestly, yeah, I think they already got a shooting, they got defense.
They're targeting PJ Washington too and Grant Williams. So they're becoming deeper. So that also
That's kind of
too.
scary for like the rest of the league because the Mavs obviously they have their star duo. They just need a team around them. And we've seen Luca carry a team with not a great team around him. And now if he has Kyrie and additional teammates, I think they can 100% go to the finals. But we just have to see like what the Mavs do. Like if they don't help Luca, then they'll regret it.
Yeah, because Luca's gonna end up leaving. I don't think he's gonna be like a loyal type player. I don't know. I feel like he'll leave. This is like his last shot,
No, it's
and
not
he's
even
gonna
that. Like I
leave.
feel like there's no proof that he isn't loyal, but at the same time, like it could happen in the future. You just can't rule it out, especially with today's NBA. I stress this all the time. Today's NBA is like so much less loyal than what it used to be, and we all know that.
This isn't even players wise. We're talking about the organizations. Marcus Smart played. He literally was drafted by the Celtics. He's done so much for them. He's won Defensive Player of the Year every single year. He's helping them make the playoffs, make it far. They don't even call him. They tell him a week before that he's safe, and then they trade him. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know that's coming. Like, how could they even do that? The NBA is not
The
loyal.
NBA does players dirty all the time. Like remember the Spurt, remember the
DeMar.
Raptors, the Raptors with DeMar.
Well, he's a Bull now, so I'm glad they did that. But wow, like from then I just knew like even DeMar said it himself, it's a business. Like you can't trust NBA owners.
Sorry
they only
guys,
care
I
about
keep
winning.
touching my hair. I'm having a bad hair day. It's like annoying me.
You never have bad hair day.
I am right now. Like these curls look discombobulated. It's like annoying the hell out of me.
Can't relate. I'm having a good hair day.
Okay. Our next player. Jeremy Grant, 5-year, 160 million. He's getting 32 million a year.
Holy overpay. Oh my gosh.
I really don't understand the Blazers here. Because 99% gonna lose Damian Lillard.
The thing is they didn't know that Dame was gonna leave. Like their plan was to keep Jeremy.
Yeah,
and
but
Dame.
even after they still said, because I think they already offered it to him, so they can't take it back, but they said they're still gonna give it to him.
I just don't get why these role players are making so much money. Like, what did the Blazers didn't even make the playoffs? Why is Jeremy Grant making 160 million? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Honestly, good for Jeremy Grant. Like,
I'm happy
getting
like
those 160
but
million.
the secret hater in me is like, why? Like, why? It's not fair.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an overpay because Jeremy Grant, I think he's more of like, obviously like he's a role player like you said, but I think he could branch out because he has averaged like pretty good numbers when he's like the guy or like the number 2 guy.
I mean, yeah, Pistons, Jeremy, but he's also never been an all-star, so
Yeah. Imagine he becomes an all-star on the Blazers.
the thing is, like, they have good young talent. They have Shaden Sharp, they have Anthony Simons, they have Scoot. Jeremy is probably gonna be the number 1 guy. If they make the playoffs, probably he could be an all-star, but I don't know. Like, I don't see him ever being like a superstar type. I mean, obviously not, but $160 million is crazy.
Yeah, so I definitely think that's an overpay. Next, Cam Johnson, 4-year, 108 million. Overpay, underpay, or just right?
Man, if I'm going based off my criteria for everyone else, overpay. Another role player, he didn't do much on the Suns. Like, I mean, he gets traded to the.
I think
they want him to be a main.
He's the definition of a role player, but I feel like he can have that like Klay Thompson like play style type. I'm trying to say like he doesn't really like dribble or handle the ball, but he like is like shoots up wherever he wants. He's a great shooter, one of the best shooters in the NBA. So I think, and he could be like really valuable in like systems. That's what he was on the Suns, but now he's on the Nets, so he'll have like an even bigger load. So he will average better numbers.
I think the best thing for him was being traded to the Nets. But in that small sample size, I don't understand why they think like, oh wow, this guy deserves 108 million. How much is that a year?
Honestly,
22 million a year?
I think it's just right. Just because the Nets, I've been trying to say this for other teams. The Nets, who else are they going to pay? They're going to pay Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. They already lost out on superstars.
So
Whatever.
if their plan is just to be a mediocre middleman team, then
They
that's
the
fine.
Nets declined like multiple first round picks for Mikal Bridges.
They really think they got the next like young squad. They still have Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas is good too. It's just like they don't move the needle for me. Like they're just like I don't see them making the playoffs next year either.
Definitely not, but yeah, I feel like honestly, I'm gonna say overpay too. I think he's good with just making like 15 to 18 a year,
He's making the same amount of money as Kyle Kuzma.
and he's making more money than Jalen Brunson.
Like how does that make sense? First of all, if we're talking about last year, whatever the cap wasn't as high for Jalen Brunson, it is what it is. But Kyle Kuzma has a ring. He has better stats. He's more accomplished, but he's making the same as much money as Cam Johnson, who hasn't really done much yet in his NBA career. I'm not trying to hate, but
He's making more than Kyle Kuzma.
and for that
And
we're
Kyle
gonna
Kuzma is
say
like one of the most underrated players in the league. Like I wanted to see Kyle Kuzma on like a good team, not like the Wizards.
why did he
So
accept such? I feel like someone else would have given Kyle Kuzma more money. I think
I don't think so.
Kyle Kuzma underpay. What do you say?
I agree. I think 4 year, 102 million. He's making 25.5 million a year.
Underpay.
I think that's 100% underpay. Yeah, just because like Kyle Kuzma is like such an underrated player. Actually, no, 25 is still a lot. 25 million.
It's an underpay if we're looking at other people. For example, Cam Johnson is making more money than him. I don't get why the Wizards couldn't offer him more money. They just have Jordan Poole. They just picked up Jordan Poole. They don't really have any other better players than Kuzma.
Yeah, I
They
feel like
really
he definitely.
lowballed
I feel
him.
like he definitely could have like.
They lowballed him.
Yeah. Okay. Next, Jakob Pertl, 4 year, 80 million. He's making 20 million a year. I honestly don't think of another team that would offer more than that. Like 20 million a year for
I feel
Jakob
like it's
Pertl.
just right. A little overpaid, but I feel like it's just right.
I think he is a really good player. I really don't understand the Raptors. They're potentially going to trade Pascal Siakam. I don't know where though. Like a lot of people are saying the Hawks. A lot of people
Trae
are
Young
saying
and Pascal Siakam
some
together
people
would
are
be a
saying the Warriors.
movie.
They're
Hell
so stupid.
no.
Like they honestly should have like used
Hell
Poole.
no.
They should have used Poole and a bunch of other assets to try and get Siakam. But so now I'm thinking like, what are they gonna offer now? They have nothing now. Honestly, getting rid of Fred VanVleet, they're like, oh, let's just get rid of all our all stars. So why sign Jakob Pertl again? Like, what is he gonna do on this team?
Well,
Since you want to get
the
rid of
Raptors want to build around Scotty and a young core. That's why they're trying to trade all their old. They traded Fred. They traded Pascal.
And this is sad because Pascal said plenty of times he's loyal to Toronto. He wants to stay. And they're over here shopping him. But honestly, I want to see Pascal Siakam on a contender again. Like he's gotten better since 2019 when he won a championship. Yeah. He's so much better than he was.
I mean, at the same time, I don't blame the Raptors. With this current roster, they weren't doing nothing. Maybe it is time for them to rebuild. They've been in the top of the East for with the DeMar Raptors for a while.
So why resign Jakob Pertl? Like this man is literally a poster child for centers on contenders.
That doesn't mean he has to be on a contender, but
I just don't.
He's getting his money. Like just because they want to build around Scotty, and doesn't mean they want to completely start over. They probably still want to like make the playoffs, but I don't see them.
They will not make the playoffs. Chris Middleton, 3 year, 102 million extension. He's getting 34 a year, 34 million. It's just different. This is a different Chris Middleton. I know you can't really judge off the recent season because he was injured, but like, what's to say that he will get better than that?
If the Bucks are planning on keeping their squad together, I think they are. Brooks staying, Chris Middleton staying, Drew Holiday staying. They're running it back. I don't see a problem with giving Chris Middleton that much money. I think he's proved that he deserves it. He's helped them win a title. He was injured last year, but he still played well. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, honestly, they want to keep the man who's been with them through
thick and thin,
worse from worse to better. And
If anything, the Bucks are one of the most loyal teams to their
yeah,
players.
yeah, but I'm thinking like clearly like the Bucks need to do more this offseason because they had this exact team and they failed in the first round. And
It
honestly,
was a lot
I'm the
though.
one that
Giannis
kept
injury.
saying they would come back. But also Giannis got surgery on his knee.
By the end of like a year from now, Giannis will be fine.
Yeah, honestly, but the Bucks were the first seed, so honestly, keeping the same core together. Hopefully Middleton gets better because it wasn't his best season last year, but he was injured pretty much the whole season. But I think it's just right, or just a little like 30 million a year would have been great too. But because I don't see him becoming an all star again. But obviously you want to pay your franchise stars so they don't leave you. So I understand that.
I think it's just right.
Max Strus, 4 years, 63 million.
I don't get what the Cavs are trying to do. I just don't.
Honestly, I like this move for the Cavs because if you watch the playoffs, the Cavs were an abomination shooting wise. Like you think the Knicks were bad at shooting
That's
wise, the
true.
Cavs were even worse. And Max Strus is like a really good shooter, and I really like that there. Maybe it was like too much money to be honest, but how much is that? 4 years, 63 million. That's not even an overpay to be honest. I think it's just right, just because he is a role player, but he's like a really good role player that steps up in big moments. Sometimes, not all the time. But throughout the playoffs this year, I think overall he was really good until it came to the finals where he was like really iffy. But he will add like shooting to the Cavs, which is really needed because when Donovan Mitchell wasn't hitting, when Darius Garland wasn't hitting, it was straight clinks because Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley are not shooters. Everyone knows that. So you need to have outside shooting because
They need shooting off the bench because obviously Donovan Mitchell wasn't hitting shots. Like you said, Darius Garland is very inconsistent. Like they do need someone like Max Strus off the bench. But at the same time, Max Strus is inconsistent too. Like in the finals, he was not playing as well as he was throughout the rest of the playoffs. So
Anthony Edwards, 5 year, 260 million. So he got the same deal as LaMelo Ball. Honestly, I think it's like I think it's not. I think it's just right for both of them.
for LaMelo,
Yeah, LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, they got the same deal. I think it's just right for both of them.
I'm kind of with you on this. I'm kind of contradicting myself for other things I've said for like giving a young player a lot of money. But like I feel like the ceiling these two players have is higher than like anyone else we mentioned, like LaMelo and Anthony Edwards. Like I see Anthony Edwards, I see him being like a top like 5 player in the league, bringing the Timberwolves to like multiple championships. Just kidding. I don't know why I said championships. I meant like multiple like Western Conference
Did you just
Finals.
say Timberwolves? Did you just say Timberwolves and championships in the same sentence? Bro, that's sad. Like just
Okay,
in
I'm just
general,
kidding, but
some of the teams that have never won championships, I feel bad for. Like,
I mean you can't count it out. Like Anthony Edwards is.
Mev,
You
let's do
should
a
see how he
challenge.
played against the Nuggets. He played
Wait, let's
amazing.
do a challenge real quick. Let's try and name all the teams that have never won championships. Domantas Sabonis, 5 year, 217 million.
I think that's deserved. I think he's made NBA. He made an All NBA team. He helped lead the Kings to the playoffs. Also, one of the best offenses in NBA history. Statistically, the best offense in NBA history, right?
You know, I'm gonna say slight overpay just because of the horrid play I've witnessed from him in the playoffs.
I feel like a lot of NBA players have had stinkers in the playoffs, but you can't just look at that. Like you have to look at everything, like what he accomplished
I'm
during
just
the
saying
regular season.
his game doesn't translate in the playoffs. Like it can be easily countered for.
Because
Like
of one playoff,
Kevon Looney was outplaying him like Kevon Looney looked like Shaq against Domantas Sabonis in the playoffs. He looked like Shaq.
you look like
I'm
Rodman.
sorry.
You look like Rodman, not Shaq. You Shaq?
No, but he
Don't
was
even compare him to
scoring
Shaq,
anything he
bro.
wanted against Domantas Sabonis. I don't even know what else he should have got paid, but I just think it was a slight overpay just because of the
I mean, they probably did
playoff
it because they
struggle.
think they can run it back. I think so too. Like, I feel like they'll also be very good next year.
I just don't see them passing the first round. unless they make another big move.
It'll be a massive like embarrassment if they don't pass the first round. Like the first year they made the playoffs, and the while is fine, I
The
guess.
Kings
But
need that third fiddle because most teams have that. You know,
Malik Monk, hello.
Malik Monk should not be your third best player if you want to be a contender. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. My throat's hurting so bad right now. I don't know why, it just is.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
Like the Kings were so interesting to watch, but
bro,
like
they
once the
almost
playoffs
beat
came
the
around,
Warriors. Come on, they almost beat the Warriors,
the
and
Warriors were
then
not
De'Aaron
great.
Fox got hurt, and then they got lucky.
The Lakers made the Warriors look like a G League team, bro. The Warriors also, let's talk about the Warriors, how they're a big loser in free agency. They really have not done shit. Like they saw how short they came up, and they lost Dante DiVincenzo. Haven't signed like a big.
We got DiVincenzo.
Haven't signed like shooters. Haven't signed the bench. Also lost like Ty Jerome. Who else did they lose on their bench? They got rid of Jordan Poole for like nothing.
Bro, they really traded Jordan Poole for a washed point guard. Sorry, CP3. But he's literally 39 years old. Like, what is he doing still in the
Honestly,
league?
I think the Warriors title runs like
It's over.
it's
They have
over.
no shot.
It's all over.
Like, you can come back to this, but if the Warriors even become contenders, then I'll literally delete my account.
I'm just gonna say here.
I'll delete my account. Like,
If Steph Curry is the one to get Chris Paul a championship, he's top 5 all time. Steph Curry. I don't care what anyone says.
Where do you have Steph Curry all time right now?
Like 9 or 10.
I think that's fair. Do you think he's the best point guard of all time, or do you think Magic is better? I feel like I see this debate a lot.
Honestly, I think it's really hard to compare eras like that. And they were both great at like different things. Like Steph is like obviously the greatest shooter of all time, one of the greatest offensive players of all time, but so is Magic Johnson.
If you're going
Magic
off,
Johnson as an offensive player, he transformed the game for big point guards. And his passing he's the greatest passer of all time.
He has more accolades. I still have Magic.
He's the greatest passer of all time. Curry's the greatest shooter of all time. And
he was also better at defense and rebounding. Magic, so.
But they both like transformed their teams offensively so much, and like they're winners, they're winning players, and yeah, and I think they both. Honestly, they're on the same tier. Like I can't put one ahead of the other, but I think Curry will eventually pass him, and it'll be soon probably. It'll probably be it'll probably as soon as we know it.
No, I think Steph Curry needs one more championship and Finals MVP to say he's better than Magic.
Really? This is an interesting debate. Guys, comment down below if you think Magic or Curry are greater and why. But
I feel like Magic has too many accolades, too many like.
And he also missed a lot of time because of his sickness.
Like, but if you're talking about like
imagine Magic never like stepped away from the sport for a couple years. Then he'd be then honestly he'd be by far the greatest. But this is just like honestly
it's very close. This is just like very close.
This is really relatable to like the Maya Moore WNBA one. Like she stepped away from the sport, and honestly, if she didn't, she would have been the greatest of all time. But she did step away, so she's still top 10. But I think like if she continued playing, she would have 100% been the greatest of all time. But for Magic too, he would have been like by far the greatest point guard of all time if he never had to leave. We got all the big signings so far.
Honestly,
there's a bunch of small ones.
I want to say a big to the Bulls organization.
Mev.
I had to say it. I had to say it. And Arturas Konovis. I don't know how to say your name, but.
And I want to say this to the Knicks organization.
They haven't done shit. They have not done shit. Casual. What? Tell me what the Bulls have done.
No, I'm talking about the Knicks. The Knicks got. I thought you said the Knicks haven't done anything. Okay, so the Knicks, first of all, got Dante DiVincenzo for a good price. We didn't trade for Damian Lillard, thank God. We would have had to trade the whole team. And I think we have something up our sleeve. Like there's some reports that we want to make a big trade, or eventually, if we do, we have assets, we have money.
You guys failed.
We're in the best position from any other team in the league.
Listen here, if you guys don't get someone, you failed. You can't run it back with the same roster.
I think we improved steadily just by shooting wise because Dante DiVincenzo is one of the best shooters too.
You sound like Warriors fans last year. Dante DiVincenzo does not
We
move
got
the needle like
DiVincenzo. We
that.
got DiVincenzo.
That's might as well what you're saying right now.
Okay, enough.
Like you need more.
What do you think about the Lakers free agency?
The Lakers
They
won.
signed
The
Jackson.
Lakers won. I'm
They signed
sorry.
Jackson Hayes, Taurean Prince, Gabe Vincent. Yeah,
I think they
they re-signed Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura.
They won. Just Rui was like making it sound like he was gonna leave. They would have lost.
Honestly,
Rui is like the prize right now. He is so good, and he got better in the playoffs too. Like,
but honestly,
come on now.
Yeah, the Lakers for me, I feel like they were a Western Conference Finals team that got better. And they got some good role players. They got shooting. For me, they just need a backup big or a big. Honestly, Dwight Howard. I don't even care. Like literally, exactly Dwight Howard. And this
up
team,
Jackson Hayes. He's
and
good.
Jackson Hayes does not move me. I'm sorry.
I mean, first of all, like they had like Mo Bamba last year. They didn't play him. Like I don't think the Lakers are planning on playing. Well, I don't even think they're planning on playing a big person. AD, in my opinion, is better as a center. So
yeah, but you need a backup
I don't
center
know
to fill up those 80 minutes, and like they really need that. And I really think that like they can definitely rival the Nuggets because the Nuggets lost.
They lost their best player off the bench. Like
they lost their best two. They lost their two best players off the bench. They lost Jeff Green and they lost Bruce Brown.
Yeah, man, I don't see the Nuggets going back to back.
I think the Nuggets still have a bunch of time to get some players to come on the bench again. But yeah, the Nuggets are still like my favorite to win the West. But I think the Lakers are definitely the second best team in the West, just by the improvements they made alone in the free agency.
Because they pretty much kept their core. Like they kept Rui, Reeves, LeBron, and AD, the four best players.
And they
kept D'Lo. I don't know about that. He stinks.
I think D'Lo will get like pushed more. I think he'll be more settled in this team. He won't want Gabe Vincent to play over him. Like he's gonna.
Gabe is better.
Honestly, I think Gabe should play over him if Dennis. This is a perfect signing. Like Gabe Vincent was reliable in the playoffs. He was a great shooter, and I'm so glad the Lakers got him.
Yeah, because thank God Dennis is gone, and Dennis just didn't work with them.
I didn't like Dennis at all. Like Gabe Vincent is a better player.
That was an upgrade.
Or maybe I don't know. But listen, the Nuggets really need something else because the Lakers improved, and in the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers almost won each of those games.
I know now everyone's like 4-0.
Taurean Prince is a great shooter. Gabe Vincent is a great shooter. They already fixed their shooting problem. They got two great shooters in free agency.
Along with Reeves and Rui are both good shooters too.
So. I want Rui to shoot more. I think like he was making like great difficult shots in the playoffs. Like he has a good potential. I see it every time he plays. Just that mid-range alone is so deadly. Like whenever he was shooting it, I swear I was not missing. And obviously we're a couple days late, but Damian Lillard requested a trade. Where do you want to see him go?
I want to see Dame go where he wants to go. I think he deserves that. Yeah. Unlike his organization that's not doing anything to help him or to make him happy, even though he's been wasting his career there. I feel like they should trade him to the Heat. What do you think?
Yeah, like Woj reported, like if it does happen, it has to be a 3-team trade because the Trailblazers don't want Hero, and obviously, why would they want Hero? They have a bunch of young guards already, and they don't need Hero. So I guess that third team has to have they have to want Hero. And obviously, Hero is going to be the centerpiece to this trade because
he sucks because his trade value
young
dipped.
asset. He is their young asset player, and you need to add like picks and stuff. But a lot of people are thinking like, why would the Pacers? I mean, why would the Blazers trade Dame there when? Sorry, why would the Blazers trade him there when their packages won't be as enticing as other packages? And the answer is, Dame is like being like, trade me Hero. I'm not gonna play for other teams are gonna be like are gonna get turned off. Like why would we trade for him if he doesn't want to play here? He's gonna leave as soon as he can. He's not going to give it his all, and that's Dame's leverage here because he can just say straight up, I don't want to play I don't want to play for any other team, which he did. So I think they're gonna have no choice. They're gonna have to trade him to the Heat.
Or he just they don't trade him at all.
No, they're trading him. There's no way after this public trade request. There's no way they don't trade him. And the Heat, do they make the finals?
It's like they get Dame, but they lose so much depth. Besides Dame, Bam, and Jimmy, who do they have? Like
They're
they
gonna
have Caleb Martin. They
lost
refuse to trade Caleb Martin.
I think they're gonna have to. They're gonna honestly lose their whole team. Like they're gonna have like 5 players on their team. They're gonna have to be really active in free agency, and I hope this trade like happens soon, because the whole world's gonna collapse once it happens.
Man, seeing Dame, and I'm gonna feel like
in a different jersey,
I'm gonna feel like it's
so
a fever
weird.
dream. Like it's not even gonna.
It's gonna feel so weird. I can't wait for that day. Well, guys, comment down below where you want to see Dame, and it'll probably be the Heat. But just comment, and are they gonna make the finals? Honestly, the East for me is just honestly like
I think the South. I think the East got
it's
better.
like that
the West
meme
got
like
better.
he got that dog in him, and like inside of him it shows like a little puppy. That's like the rest of the East. That's why the Heat like bitch them every time. But the Celtics now have Kristaps, so we'll see what happens. Well, thank you guys for watching. Comment down below what remaining free agent you want your team to sign, and like and subscribe, and follow us on all our channels at Splash Sisters P on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that. Thank you guys.
Thank you.